For those who missed, I would like to say this again. Vijay is a resident doctor in Sion Hospital, and he was posted as one of the doctors for COVID-19 itself, and he's telling us a little bit more about his experience, his whereabouts. Hello, Vijay, again.
Yeah. Hi. Was it an issue from my side?
I have no idea. It just everything got shut. But our viewers again, they're coming back again. Yeah. So what happened in March?
We had a few, we had admitted around 20 patients then, but during the period I was posted, only 2 of them tested positive. So I really did not get a lot of I wasn't exposed to COVID as much then. But then, last month, I got posted in the casualty, where we have all the patients that come to the hospital come first to the casualty, and by then we had opened a lot of COVID wards, but by then all of them had already become full. So we did not have enough place for compared to the number of patients coming in. So these suspected patients, they used to be in the casualty until a vacancy is created in the COVID ward. So I used to be working among them. So that's where I probably caught the infection.
Got the infection. Vijay, before we continue, someone has requested to hold the mic a little closer because you're not audible.
Okay.
Anyway,
sorry.
So how many patients have you encountered?
I don't think that I can count them. At a time, there used to be around 30 patients in the casualty who all of them suspected COVID. So
then we started in the month of March.
No, not in March. I was posted in casualty the last month. So at that time, at any given time, there used to be around 30 patients.
Okay. So tell me one thing. So initially, if patients are coming in, did they come because they were feeling they were experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 or for some other reason, and then they used to be in the casualty for some other reason, or how it all was?
Okay, so basically, if a patient is stable with fewer complaints, he would go to the OPD. So we had a 24-hour fever OPD going on. And if a patient had severe symptoms, like a patient coming breathless, would come to the casualty directly, because he would require oxygen.
Correct.
So.
And you were what were you doing over there? Like what?
Yeah, so I was in the casualty. So basically, whenever a patient who we did not suspect a COVID infection but needed to be admitted, we would do all the procedures quickly, and we would send him to the admit him into a normal general ward, so that he does not get exposed staying in the casualty. But the remaining, those who we suspected were to be COVID positive, they were kept in the casualty till any vacancy was created in the COVID wards. And until then, all the basic emergency management that needed to be done, like if a patient coming with a low oxygen saturation, we would put him on oxygen, and the rest, whatever treatment, starting of antibiotics, the first dose and all of that would happen in the casualty.
So I know it's very difficult to, there's a lot of things actually. I'm sure for us, it's a lot of things coming up, a lot of things to digest actually, because there is like casualty ward and there's the normal ward and patients coming for this, patients coming for that. You recollect any suspicious person through which you might have got the infection? Anyone?
No, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because there are so many patients.
Yes, but Vijay, tell me one thing: you are covered with most of the things, right? I don't know what you call them, like the mask and sanitizer is all we know for precautions. But what all you wear? Can you just elaborate?
Yeah, so there's a complete PP, that is the protective equipment that we wear. So it consists. Actually, there are different types in it. There's a simple one which is directly a jumpsuit sort of a thing. So we that's like a single piece. There's another one which is like a wraparound kind of a thing. So it consists of a lot of parts. We have shoe covers, we have a wraparound, we have a headgear, we have goggles, and then we have a shield also
Yeah.
if we're collecting swabs, and an N95 mask. So that's all the things that it consists of. Yeah, so
And
and there's a
yeah. So you need to change them regularly. Like how often do you need to change all that attire?
so it's a one-time wear. If once you wear it, you have to remove it only at the end of the duty. So you cannot like hamper with it in between. So that is the reason, like you cannot even remove it for a water break or anything. So for that reason, we had 6-hour shifts in the casualty. So for that throughout that 6-hour stretch, we had to wear it, and at the end of 6 hours, we had to discard the PP. So that's how it worked. Yeah.
So it must be very difficult and suffocating for doctors, I'm very sure.
Yes, it is, and especially in a city like Mumbai with such a hot and humid climate, it becomes really difficult. But then, yeah, so we have to do it, and there's no option.
But Vijay, what surprises me is in spite of all these precautions, in spite of all this, every means in which you all guys will be protected, doctors and other healthcare providers will be protected, still doctors are contracting the infection. And
Yeah,
so is it so aggressive? Is it so rapid? Is it so so much infectious that in spite of wearing the shield and the jumpsuit kind of a thing, and then 6 hours you're not going to even open the shield to drink water. You cannot go to the washroom. So basically, as you said, you cannot hamper. You cannot do anything with it. You're as if you're inside that. You're born inside that, and you have to live with that body. It's just like that. So in spite of that, how come people are now that we have you over here? How do doctors get infected in spite of that?
so like while working in the casualty, like we have patients coming in with severe symptoms, so we have to act on an emergency basis. So we have to be like in a hurry there, so we cannot really waste any time because like they're coming with severe symptoms with breathlessness. So like I think while working in a hurry, there is some of the other kind of breach that might be taking place in the PP. So I think that's the reason. Otherwise, if you're using the PP properly, the risk of transmission is very less. But while working, you cannot really avoid certain kinds of breach that may happen. So I think that's how the infection gets in.
Oh, guys, please stay home, okay? Please stay home. So how long is it since you have been infected, tested positive for the first time?
So it's been 15 days. I think it's the 16th day of my stay here now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine now, but I'm still testing positive. So I'm waiting for a negative report. Yeah.
And how many tests have been conducted on you?
5.
5 tests. And usually how much time it takes for it to come back?
Again, that depends on like from person to person. A few of my colleagues, they became negative within a span of a week or so. Some colleagues took around 20, 25, 26 days to become negative. So it all depends. There's no such fixed.
Yeah, and what kind of tests do they conduct? What do they do in that?
So we take a swab, either a nasal swab or an oral swab,
Oral swab.
throat swab that we see. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
But are these tests very accurate? Because it's a novel coronavirus, right?
Yes, so basically they test the genetic material. So they are accurate, but it all depends upon the technique of collection also. I mean, if you are not taking the swab from the right place, I mean, that can happen like from anyone. So if the swab is not taken correctly, it might give a false negative report that way. So those are drawbacks of every test. Like, I mean, you have limitations for everything, but
Correct.
but yeah, most of the times they give accurate results.
So, guys, I hope all of you know what is an incubation period. Incubation period is the time between a person gets infected and he or she tests positive. You get the right result. So, what is the incubation period for COVID-19?
So it's basically it ranges from 5 to 14 days. So the first 5 days you might not test positive after being exposed to a COVID positive patient. So as per guidelines, you test from the 5th to the 14th day after you have been exposed to a COVID positive patient.
So 14 days in all is the incubation period, or the window period as we call it in you guys call it in medical terms. Okay. At the moment, what are the symptoms you are experiencing? How are you feeling? What is it inside?
Right now, I'm like totally all right. Like I do not have any symptoms right now. I had fever, sore throat, and body ache for the first 2 days, but since then I do not have any symptoms.
So yeah, so it's good actually you don't have any symptoms. I really pray that the next test is going to come out negative, really. But Vijay, when this all started, when you were infected, God knows how, but when you were infected, what was the first symptom you experienced? And then there was this intuition, that, oh God, now something is wrong.
Like I had a little bit of sore throat, but I did not really like take that so seriously. I mean, because sore throat can be because of anything. But it was when I started developing fever that I was very sure that now I've got the virus. So that was when I decided to get myself tested.
And there's a lot of coughing and stuff like that.
It depends. Some people present with cough. I did not have cough as such.
But tell me one thing now, fever, sore throat, cough, sneezing, these are very common things. These are very common things. If you're staying in Bombay, if you're staying in India, you have a lot of pollution, and most of the people are prone to all of this. And we are kind of immune also now, so most of us. But is there something different, which sets this COVID-19 disease apart from the other flus? Something
no, actually, there's nothing different in this. Actually, I mean, it is also included under sometimes it is considered an influenza-like virus. So it's actually it presents similar to a flu. So there's nothing that you can actually differentiate it from a normal flu. You have to get yourself tested for it. There's no other no symptom will differentiate it from a flu.
But something I don't know, something abnormal, something that, oh, I haven't experienced this kind of a sore throat or this kind of a fever, because I think that people should know this. And now you're tested positive, you're a doctor. Can you tell us something different, like that?
Like I did not experience anything like different from the way I've experienced a normal flu. So it was just I had a fever, and then I started developing body ache. But then that's a part of any flu. So that was how it was. But it is just that right now there's a pandemic going on with so much exposure. So you get to know that it's that.
So basically, there is this intuition. You get to know kuch to hua hai. And because for a doctor, we have seen cases around the world, in Italy, in Spain, US, now in India also, that doctors are contracted. They have contracted the virus in spite of all the precautions. All the healthcare providers, police personnel, and basically people who are exposed to the virus directly. So I think this is more, guys. This is more of a thing where you realize now the pandemic is going on, and maybe if we have exposed to people who might have, who potentially COVID-19 positive. I think that is the time you should really be aware. You should not roam around other people. You should not be a part of masses or even your closed ones. That's the time you should actually quarantine yourself. Am I right, doctor?
Yeah,
is that
that's
how it is about?
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Now, explain to us, what is this virus? What is it? This virus that has created such a ruckus in the world.
So it's like any other flu virus. We call them the influenza virus. So this coronaviruses have been known earlier, but this particular strain that has caused the pandemic, it's a new one. That is why it is called as a novel coronavirus. Yeah, so it's like any other influenza virus, but more infectious, more contagious, which is why this current situation that we have. So that is why we needed a lockdown, so that we avoid contact between people, so that transmission rates are reduced. So yeah, it's a new virus. So research has been going on. Not much is known yet about it. No specific treatment therapies are known about it. So everything is being worked upon. Trials are going on. So like vaccines are being tried, but so let's hope we get something out of it.
So, am I right? Till the vaccine comes and till the vaccine is proved to be effective, the only solution we have is social distancing. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
There is nothing. I mean, quarantine is a different thing altogether, and social distancing, I think I read this somewhere, it's a gentler cousin of quarantine. So I think we are all are staying home, and that is an amazing thing. Actually, we're keeping ourselves safe. So guys, the lockdown has been extended, as I said in the first session, and that is a very good initiative by our government. The cases are rising every day, and how many cases are rising in Sion Hospital? Any idea?
So we have treated around 1,500 cases by now.
My God.
So yeah, so every day I think we have almost around 100 patients coming in who are COVID positive. So
How?
that's
Like, see, let's make this clear. It is spread through the droplets which come out of your mouth or your nose or basically external droplets. Does it also really spread through is it really very much contagious even through touch? What happens if I touch you? If I am positive and I touch you, then what is the next thing? What happens?
so basically if I am a COVID positive patient and I have been coughing and I've coughed on my hand, so my hand acts as something called as a fomite. So where the virus stays for a certain period of time, around 24 to 48 hours or so. So if I haven't practiced proper hygiene, washed my hands or used a sanitizer, and if with the same hand I'm touching someone else, that's when the virus can get transmitted to the other person. So that is how by touch, if you say by touch, that's how it can get transmitted. Even like if I'm not practicing proper hygiene, I'm coughing, like where I'm coughing and sneezing, it can get deposited on those droplets can get deposited on things
Surface.
around me, yeah, on surfaces. So so that is why we have to practice proper hygiene and proper, yeah, these measures, yeah.
So when you were on duty, a lot of people were coughing without masks and without any kind of precautions.
No, once the patient comes into casualty, you should make sure that everyone has a mask there. So if they did not have, we used to arrange and provide them with one. So that we had to do with the patients.
Because then is it that the spread between doctors and other people is because of the touch? Is it more of a probability then?
It could be, and also we were like collecting swabs there. So during swab collection, obviously they have to remove the mask, they have to open their mouth, and when you actually take the swab, there is obviously some aerosol generation. So that's how.
I really respect all of you guys, these doctors, nurses, and people working in the hospitals. What a tough job. In the last session with Anjali Damania, we discussed about police personnel and people working for the government who are risking their lives. And look at these doctors who are again risking their lives to save our lives. So stay home, stay safe, practice good hygiene. Vijay, now just a small demonstration. Now this, tell me more before we go for that. N95 mask is a recommended mask by medical professionals. Is that right?
Yes, but
So, yeah.
it is not recommended for like everyone as such. I mean, like especially considering the shortage of N95 masks, it's better to like keep them for the people who are more exposed to this. Even a normal mask will do in normal circumstances. Like for while you are at home, a normal mask is sufficient.
Okay. Now I have this mask over here. Okay. So what kind of mask is this? What
This is
is
a
it made of?
this is a normal cotton mask.
Normal cotton mask, but does it act as a barrier?
It does, like as long as you're maintaining social distancing and all, this should do. Like this, it's a fine mask for.
Right. Another thing, see, if I'm wearing it this way, okay,
Yeah.
then this part is exposed to the outer atmosphere.
Yes.
Correct. Now, all of us, we need to ensure one thing is that while removing, we should not put our hands over here while we remove.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Many
Yes.
people
Correct.
have seen they do this, they do this, and then again, uske baad, then
Hmm.
there is no use of wearing this.
Yeah.
You know. Another thing. So is this what is the right way we should remove? If I'm putting it right like this,
Yeah. It
you
has to
know,
be removed from those. Those
from
strings.
here,
Yes.
this way. And should
And
we put this in some disinfectant or something every day, or what is it? If for example, I'm a person, I don't get out of the house quite often these days. But if I say go in the morning to buy vegetables or milk or something like that, and then the entire day I'm not getting out, so the time of exposure to the outer world is say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So should I need is it necessary that I should clean and I should disinfect this every day, every time that I'm going out, or alternate?
no, you need not really. There's no such specific time definition for disinfecting it. You need not infect it every time, disinfect it every time. But like maybe if you've like at night you're going to remove it while sleeping, you can just wash it with soap and water. You can keep it, and you can reuse it again next day.
And the virus dies with just water and soap or Dettol or something like that? Or the exposure to the sun, how does it die usually?
Yes, you can like there's it's not like proven with whether it dies of with soap and water, but that's the basic measures that we can take at the level of our at home level. And it has to be dried in sun. Basically, the virus does not live long on such surfaces or objects. It has a life of approximately maybe 24 hours or so. So after that, anyway, the virus is not going to die. But with soap and water is enough for disinfecting a normal mask. Yeah,
Okay.
and drying it in the sun also.
Sorry,
And drying it in the sun.
okay, in sun.
Yeah.
What medications have been prescribed to you at the moment?
So currently, I'm not on any medications. I mean, I'm just on vitamin supplements. So because this vitamin C, vitamin D, they have shown some benefit in some studies. Apart from that, in the initial days, I was on antibiotics and hydroxychloroquine for the first 5 days. That was before this change about hydroxychloroquine came in. So yeah,
So
so
we
earlier,
don't actually have a medicine on the virus, we have it on the symptoms. Am I right? So we
yes,
are
so
trying to, yeah, we're trying to actually get rid of the symptoms which the
yeah,
virus is causing.
yes. So
So,
since it's a new virus, we do not have any drug that specifically acts on that. So all that we are currently trying to do is giving antibiotics, so that because your immune system is already compromised in such situations, you do not want
yes.
any other infection. So that is why you need an antibiotic cover. Apart from that, we have tried hydroxychloroquine because it acts as an immunomodulator. So it somehow boosts your immune system. That is why hydroxychloroquine. And apart from that, vitamin C, vitamin D have shown certain benefits in some studies in foreign countries. So that is why we're using those. Apart from that, there are certain trials that are currently being carried out in our hospitals also here. So there are certain antivirals which are not specific for this virus because we do not have any studies related to it, but some antivirals that act on certain other viruses that we know of. They are currently being tried on this virus, and certain other drugs also like ivermectin and so on. So, but all of them are in their trial phase. So let's hope we find something.
So the bottom line here is if you are infected, don't freak out. You have to have a lot of patience is all I can see over here, because most of your tests might come out positive again, and you have to wait till the test comes out negative. It's a normal virus. It is spreading rapidly, and that is the reason it's a threat to the community, to the world, because it spreads very rapidly. But guys, even if you're infected, I hope that you all would be sane enough to not transmit it to someone else. Keep it to yourself so that you'll be treated properly, and you should only and only approach a healthcare professional in such situations. If you're experiencing symptoms like these, don't expose yourself to anyone else. Quarantine yourself. Hold a mask or anything, a cloth maybe, through which you will be able to secure other people, their health. And Vijay, we all wish a very speedy recovery, and the next test is going to come out as negative. I pray to God, and hopefully we have a vaccine. Very, very, we're very eager now to know who is going to make the vaccine, when it is going to come, because all of us, well, we are vulnerable at this point of time, and we really hope that a doctor like you, a dancer like you, and thousands and lakhs and other people who are like you, who are going through this crisis and this situation and this infection right now, would come out healthy, and hopefully we'll have a vaccine very soon. So see you guys, and thanks a lot, Vijay. We'll have a session again, and take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Hope to see you for the next session, and till then, take care, stay home, stay healthy.